Hello, welcome to Invivo. I'm looking at the SoundDock 10, the Bose SoundDock 10 system. Very good system, very powerful sound, great system. But, you know, like all equipment, it can fail. And this guide is intended just to give you a rough troubleshooting guide. Things to check before you decide that the dock is actually faulty. And just an overview of the repair services that we can offer. We do repair a lot of these docks, and we offer a module repair service, or if you are in the UK, we can do the whole dock, but we do the module repair worldwide, like we do all the other Invivo modules that we repair for Bose. Not for Bose, they're Bose units, we're independent of Bose, to make that clear. This it's not really easy to operate this dock without a remote control. This isn't actually the correct remote control, and I can't find the correct one. The correct one's got an extra row of buttons in with auxiliary and something else which I can't remember. But this is okay. This is what we need for the demonstration. No issues there. But yours has probably got an aux and something else on selection button. But this will work. Okay. So the first thing, if you've got no response, is to check the batteries in your remote are correct by removing this panel at the back and changing the batteries. If you unsure if your remote is working, actually, you can go into a completely blacked out room and just look at the end of here where the infrared LED is, and that infrared LED, even though you can't see it with your eyes, will show up on a cell phone camera. So just point your cell phone at it and press the button. If you should see a light up, and if it lights up, there's a very, very good chance of a high probability and confidence the remote is actually working. If you can't see the little white dot in a completely dark room with your cell phone camera, then it's probably the battery or something wrong with the remote. Okay, so these are 30-pin docks. You can get a Bluetooth module which goes in here. Obviously, if this connector is loose or wobbly or bent, broken, or the pegs are missing, or when you move the iPod back and forth, the sound breaks up, or you get no sound from the iPod, the chances are that it may be this connector is faulty. Quite often we get quite a lot where water has fallen in here, or drink or something has fallen in here, and it gurgles down through the holes, and if the power is left on, or if it's a conductive type, you know, something like black currant or red wine, something that works as an electrolyte, it will dissolve the electronics underneath, so you have to watch out for that. This unit pops out. If you push that button in there where this finger is and lift, the unit comes out, and just take your unit out. You can see this is our test dock, so this has been through the wars, engineers have been training on it and so on. And you can see, I'll give you a close-up of this later, but there is a gold-plated pads under here which mate up to a spring contact rows, a row of spring contacts underneath, which provides the power and the drive for this part. And very often we get them in where this is all corroded and these have been dissolved by electrolytic action because someone has spilt something in. I'll tip the dock forward. No, you can't see it. It's not ideal at the moment because we don't have our cameraman here. He's on holiday, but I need to make this video for a customer. So yeah, so this comes out, and this can be repaired. If you suspect that this is faulty, then you can send this to us, and we can change the connector on there for you. We can do a limited amount to the repairs on it, but we don't have the PCB as a replacement. But what you can do, if this fails, you can, and I'm not sure if it's still available, but certainly last year it was, you can buy a Bluetooth version of this. So you can take this out, discard it, and then snap in the Bluetooth module, which is a nice option actually. It brings the dock up to date, so you can get that Bose sound over Bluetooth. So at the moment, I'm going to assume that your iPod's not working, and the dock's not working, and that the connector is good. And you can't get any sound out of it. Obviously, clearly, if the remainder of the test that we're going to do, or I'm going to talk about, work, then the chances are it's this that's faulty, and you can send this to us to test it. We will test this for free. So if you suspect this part, just contact us at sales@invivo.com. The email address is in the links below. and we'll test it for you. We don't mind testing things. We like testing things, what we do. So yeah, if you suspect this module, we can change the connector. It takes a couple of days, but if under here you look at it and the gold isn't gold and shiny, and it's all corroded and there's horrible stuff going on, then chances are this thing is scrap, and you may as well just try and get hold of a Bluetooth version if you have a modern phone or a modern iPod with Bluetooth. If you don't, then you're going to have to try and get hold of a spare one of these, and I don't know if they're still available as new items, but you could check with Bose. Okay, so this is the dock. 2 big speakers and a big subwoofer. It's fantastic sound. The output power is something like 80 or 90 watts. It's quite a powerful unit, actually. Depending on where you live in the world, this unit is either 110, 120 or 220, 240. It's not an auto ranging power supply. So if you, we get a surprising amount of these, actually 110 units have been brought over from America when people have come across back home or whatever, and they've discovered, they plugged it into the UK mains, and guess what happens? You know, it works for a few seconds and then there's a bang and damage internally. If you've done that to your dock, don't worry, we can fix it. You just need to take the module out like I'm going to show you later. So that is repairable. If you have a 110 unit that's been plugged into 240, 220, 240, and it's blown it up, we can fix that. Also, if you have a 240 or 220 volt version that you want converted to 110, we can do that too. So I'm going to get ready to take this apart and I'll actually do some diagnostic tests first. The easiest and most straightforward thing to do, if I just turn the dock around, one moment, I'll pause the video and turn the dock around. Yeah, so we're looking at the back of the dock now. Obviously you've got your mains input socket. Make sure both pins are here, they're not broken off. You've got a USB update. I've never heard of anyone using this USB socket for any kind of updates. I guess it can be done, but there's no firmware that I've seen for it. Auxiliary in, this is very useful. This is a 3.5mm jack socket which takes a line in, and you can get a 3.5mm stereo jack to jack lead and plug it into your phone earphone socket to test the dock. A very useful way of checking that the actual dock electronics are working. If you plug an audio signal in there and you press the aux on your remote and you get sound coming out, then the chances are the dock is working and there's something wrong with the docking connector at the front. Also, this socket can be quite easily broken, and if you're a repair shop, or you know, if you're a either you can send us this board and we can fit the new socket, or if you're a repair shop, just contact our support team and we can supply you with a spare socket to solder in position. We can't take any responsibility, you know, if you damage the board or whatever, but it's there if you need it. And this is just a video out from the old iPod videos that used to play videos, a composite video out that you could connect to a monitor if you felt so inclined. Never tried it, never needed to, but it is supported. So I'm going to just plug this in and move my microphone a little bit closer to the unit so you can hear. And this is a very good test to see whether the internal parts of the docks are actually working. When it powers up, it gives 2 beeps, and there's 1 beep from each speaker. There's about a 4-second or so delay between putting the power up on it and the beeps arriving. So here we go, we're going to try this now. Yeah, hopefully you caught that. I'll do it once more. Just wait for it to discharge, otherwise it won't work. Power on. 2 beeps. Okay, 1 beep indicates that one of the channels is not working. No beeps at all indicates that you've got a problem. And the most common failure mode for this dock is behind this socket there's a module in here, in this part. There's a module in this section here, which is the power supply and power amplifier section, and it's this section which invariably fails. So we're going to deal with the removal of this, you know, how to open the dock, remove the power section in preparation to send it to us for us to modify, repair and modify it. We strengthen this circuit in several places, and we make it much more resilient to bad transients, i.e. voltages and damaging electricity levels coming down through the mains supply into the socket. We repair a lot of these modules that come in to us from Africa, where, you know, the generators, often they run on generators and the power goes up and down, and this, because it's not universal input, is not that well protected inside against mains transients. So we increase the protection, and we can service and repair it. Okay, so I'm just going to get ready in the next section to take this apart and show you how to remove this module in preparation to send it to us to use our repair service. So here's the base of the unit. I've turned it upside down, so the docking area is now around here at the front, and you can see there's a big metal plate, and this metal plate, do not undo these through screws, these three, just simply hold the docking area on. There's a PCB circuit board with the socket and the ribbon connector and the cables for mounting the module that goes in the front, either the 30-pin connector or the Bluetooth module. And you've got these three, they've actually five screws actually. This one, this one, this one, this one, that one, you don't need to touch. What we're looking at doing is removing this base plate by removing these big screws here, these three. These are the three that hold the base on. And when you take them off, underneath there is a rubber, this is kind of rubber mounted to cushion the dock area from the vibrations from the speaker. You've got a powerful speaker here, and the old iPods had hard disks in, and without this cushioning it would stress the connector and also could cause the hard disk to jump and lose its position. Obviously there are very fine mechanics in there which are prone to vibration. So it's these three screws we're going to take out, and I'll show you what to do. So first of all, we'll just take those out. So here we go. Crosshead Posi-Drive screwdriver, I think it is. Certainly this is a Posi-Drive number 2, and it fits perfectly. There's the screw. You see that? Big captive washer on the screw. Okay, obviously don't lose them. We don't have any spares, so don't ask us for any. Look after them. So three screws. Here, here, and this is the third one. Okay. So the three screws, and then once the three screws are out, you can just gently lift this plate. Don't lift it and pull it away, just lift it so it's coming off these rubber. It's kind of stuck because there's rubber grommets here, there's rubber cush mounts here, which are kind of like a sliding fit. They kind of grip on these posts underneath. So there will be a little bit of resistance, but you know, by working it carefully and by judiciously lifting it around, you can see I'm easing it away, and just ease it away so it's clear of the post, but do not just remove it and walk away with it at this point, because there is a ribbon cable under here, a flat, quite a delicate cable underneath here, which you need to carefully unplug once it's been removed. So what we're going to do is just lift it clear of these posts like this. So now you can see it's free. I'm holding that now. And if I just, what I'm going to do is just lift it and tip it forward. So I'm going to take this edge here and lift it and tip it over the front, but not very far. And you can see when you look inside, you can see this ribbon cable. I'm going to move this to the middle, and I'm going to zoom in slightly for you. This is all one man job because, as I say, Pete the cameraman is in a cabin in the Alps at the moment doing special walking So here we are. Yeah, this is the ribbon cable, and it's coming from the front section. I'm trouble holding this here for you, but there we go. Hopefully you can see it clearly. There's the ribbon cable, and it plugs into this. This is the sound processor module for the SoundDock 10. So in there is the digital signal processing and all the remote control interfacing, and out of this comes the signals for the amplifier. The power goes both ways, and the signals go along this ribbon cable in the middle. There's another cable, you see that thing there? That's a screened ribbon cable, very hard to get hold of, so be careful. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this here by grasp it firmly. It just pulls out. It's not locked in or screwed in or glued in. There's no tape or adhesive or any little spring levers or anything else you have to release. Anyone that's taken a phone apart knows that you've got kind of locking connectors, but this isn't locking. So you just ease out a little bit at a time. Just work it this way. I'm working it this way. I'm working it that way. I'm working it this way. And just gently remove it so it comes out pretty much straight. There you go. So it's come out. All right. So we'll inspect that in a minute. Actually, there's a separate video setup I can use, which is much better for doing this kind of thing. But so now this is free to be removed. So I'm just going to take it and put it to one side. Right. So I'm going back to this. Zoom out. So there we are, we've got it there. And now you can see in here, there's the power socket there that I mentioned before. That's when the mains goes in. This is the speaker connection for the large, huge speaker inside here. There's a big transducer in there, does the bass, and there's the bass slot. The bass comes out of this slot. And then here you've got the two main speakers. There's a cable comes along the front here, and you can just see the end of that cable. It's all covered in foam to protect it from vibration and from being pinched. And there's one going around inside the case, drives this speaker, and there's another one goes the other way down in the end and drives the other speaker, and they're plugged in here. So there's a connection here, there's a connection here, and also there's this ribbon cable, which is very delicate, so we're going to be careful with this. So I'll show you what to do. So if you can observe this now, I don't think you can see that very well. Can you see that? Can you see that? There's one screw there, screw here, screw there, and a screw there. Right, so you've got 4 screws. Okay. It's not quite as simple as that, but the first thing we're going to do is just take out these 4 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So I'm going to hold it, so I'm going to zoom in so you can see a little bit better. Excuse me again, this is a very improvised video today. I haven't got the usual support. I think next time we interview an engineer for in vivo, I'm going to make sure they've got very long arms. Yeah, so here we go. Just going to take these screws out. 1. Of course, put it to one side. 2. Always work on a clear table if you can, and always have a little pot to put your screws in, and don't lose them. You'll be amazed how many customers phone us up and say, I've got the part back you sent me, but I've lost the screws. So we end up sending more screws, which is more postage, but we're not too fussy. There we go. So 4 screws out. Now you can't get this out at the moment because this detail here is locked in. The edge of the circuit board goes underneath this lip here, the back moulding. So actually that screw's already loose, whoever's put this in, but that would normally, this screw here, you can see it, would be tight. There's a screw here and a screw here. So what we're going to do, we're not going to take these right out, but we're going to loosen them off a good deal, probably about halfway out, so that we can pull this back and get this board clear. So we pull this back this way against, to the extent where we've undone the screws, and then gently lift this up, and we're going to lift up this end only, okay? And just pull that free, gently pull that free like that. So we're clear, right? And you can see what's happening here. This ribbon cable is already, I mean, I'm doing this, and I'm not, because I'm out of frame, it's difficult for me to see what's going on, but you can see that this ribbon cable is already under a little bit of stress. you do not want to damage that ribbon cable. Okay, so first thing to do is underneath this connector here, you can see these connectors have got a little, see that little lever there? Little lever there where my finger is. I hope you've got a reasonable sized screen. I'm just going to zoom in on that so you can see it a little bit better. Alright, now you can see it. You should be able to see that, I should think. Anyway, we push this down, push that lever down to lock. You can see it lock, and as soon as I push that down, it unplugs. So there's your connector. It only goes on one way, and you've got this little locking barb which locks onto that detail under there. Okay, now the one at the back is just the same, so we lift up the other side. I'm going to zoom out again. No, that's the wrong way. There we go. And this time I'm going to just lift up the other end. Remember, this is still plugged in. Okay, so I'm going to maybe pull that forward, drop that down a little bit, put that under stress, and just lift the other side. So we've got this side down, this side up. Put our finger underneath, push the clip, and pull the connector out. Then that one's unplugged. Now it's just leaving this one, and then we just gently take this board, hold it there, and then just gently push away. Okay, and it unplugs. And you see there's the connector. There's the connector there, here, into which that ribbon goes. Okay, a word of warning. If you've had this thing powered up within the last 45 minutes, I would leave it for at least half an hour, 45 minutes before you take it apart, because there are components here which can hold charge. Particularly if you start poking your fingers around in there. They are particularly much protected by these metal cans, actually, and I can't really foresee a way of getting a shock from it. But leave it for half an hour, 45 minutes before you take it apart and remove the unit. And don't take these covers off and mess around under here anywhere, because these do hold a little bit of voltage, so you don't want to, you know, take unnecessary risks. So there it is. That's the module. Okay, so I'll just pull that to one side. Look at this module for a moment. So this is the module you're going to send to us, as it is, with the cans, everything complete. Under here on this part there is a piece of foam. Okay, now you should keep that with you, don't send it to us. This piece of foam goes back on there to stop vibration on the main case of the SoundDock. So don't send us that bit of foam, we don't want it. Okay, you're going to look after that yourself. All right, so I'm just going to push the so here we are. This is the unit you're going to send to us. That's the part number there, you can see. And to send it to us, you need to put it in a box, and you need a box that's got at least some space around. We've had these received in jiffy bags from Africa, and you know, it's all bent and broken, and we've got a half of it. This is all snapped off because it's not been protected. And really, if you want to look after it and want it back working, and for us to say yes, it's repairable, you need to put it in a stout box. It doesn't need to be any bigger than maybe 3/4 of an inch or 18 millimeters all the way around, and then a gap above and below, and then put some bubble wrap around it in a plastic bag, just in case it gets wet. Air freight, you'd be surprised how often air freight gets wet. I've had boxes arrive that have been literally been sodden because they've been on the tarmac and there's been a cloud burst, taken the airport by surprise, and the air-loadable containers in which the freight is stored, as transported from the aircraft to the thing, are not waterproof. So put it in a bag and tape it up. That'd be great, thanks. Anyway, there you are. So that's that. So yeah, this is the thing you need to send to us, and you can see the service. It's listed on our website under SoundDock 10. If you're in the UK, we can send you labels, free labels to send it in. Send it in, we'll test it. If it's not faulty, we'll send it back to you without a charge. We don't charge for diagnostics, we only charge for repairs. It takes us literally 10-15 minutes to test it. It's an expense that we cover. We don't charge, we always charge a fixed price for our repairs. If there's something on here which is we believe is not repairable, not that we've had one yet, but if for some reason we don't think we can make a reliable repair, for example if this chip is blown up and the board is damaged, then clearly it's beyond economical repair really. And because we give a 12-month warranty on all our repairs, it doesn't make sense for us to fix it. But it doesn't happen very often, but there's no charge, no fix, no charge, no fault found, no charge. But if you, we will charge you a small amount to ship it back to you. Okay. So when you place the order on the Vivo website, if you're in the UK, you get free shipping labels to send this in. You put it in a box, you take it to the post office, you hand it over to the postmaster, you ask for a tracking label, they give you a tracking label, don't pay anything. Sometimes they try and charge you, which they're a bit sharp sometimes. But anyway, that's what you're sending to us, just that thing, okay? And when we've fixed it, we'll get in contact. It's usually 2 or 3 or 4 days after we receive it. You'll get, actually when we receive it, you'll receive an email, and then when we fixed it, you'll get another email saying it's ready to be paid for, and we ask for payment by we send you a PayPal request, and the PayPal request could be paid by credit card or by PayPal account. You can pay by either, and the same in Europe and worldwide actually. So there you go. That's it. Shipping, return shipping to the rest of the world, America is about £7 or about $12. Shipping to Africa is probably actually I can't remember what that is. You're gonna have to contact us depending on which country it is, because some are more expensive than others. But once fixed, it'll carry on working and it'll be stronger than when it left the factory. Okay, so that's that. Okay, it's just a quick closer look at this this docking module. What we're looking for here is if you get the 2 beeps when you plug the power in, but you get nothing happening from your iPod, then have a look at this connector and also give it a clean. And if it's damaged or loose or wobbly, it's going to be no good. And if you flip it over and you look at this has had some limited liquid damage. I'm going to try and zoom in on that so you can see it better. There we go. Can you see this discoloration here and here and here? That's where someone spilt some liquid, and this one is just about salvageable, but it is our test dock and it does work. But that connector in this part mates up with this part in the base. This is the front assembly, and if you look here, these pins here, these are flat gold plated, they're supposed to be gold plated tracks, contacts if you like, mate up with this sprung loaded contact plug here. You can see it, you can see. In fact, there's a tang on there that's broken. That tang is supposed to locate in this hole, but it's actually broken on this one for some reason. But you can inspect that carefully, because often when this has had liquid in it, these have almost disappeared or broken or blackened and horrible, in which case you're into looking for a new. We do have these connectors in stock. If you're a repair workshop, we have this connector. We can sell you a connector if you feel competent to send it. There's no warranty on fixing it, but it is the right connector. It's a proper original OEM part. So if you need one of those, let us know. Okay, so that's that. So just a quick recap. Do you get the 2 beeps? Yes. Can you play audio from the auxiliary in 3.5mm? If that's yes, then it's not the power board and it's not the amplifier, so don't send us that module which we just took out, okay? But if you plug the dock in and you get no response, nothing happening, then it's the power module, and you can send that to us and we will fix it using the service. So any questions, just email us. Email one of the engineers. If you're unsure in any way, then just get back to us by email. Every email is answered within usually 1 business day, and we can help you get your dock working again. So thanks for watching. Right, I mentioned before that I was going to show you this ribbon. This is the ribbon that goes to the front section of the dock. We're in tele-macro mode here, but it goes. This is the one that goes from here in to the front area and powers the iPod section. Now, ribbon cables in general, this pitch of this is 0.5 millimeter, so between each the centre of these connectors is 0.5 millimeter, and it goes without saying you have to be really careful with these things. You can see they should all be silver and shiny, and you really have to be careful when unplugging and unplugging. In fact, this one's been unplugged a few times. You can see there's a little bit of damage at the end, okay? But have a really good look. And if you haven't, you know, like me, you're mature, your eyes might not be brilliant, then get yourself a magnifying glass or a decent pair of glasses or a spyglass or a jeweler's loupe and have a look. But they should be shiny, they should be silver, there shouldn't be any folded over, peeling off. And if they are damaged and they're leaning over and touching or they come off, then it may damage it if you plug it in, because it'll push on the connector, the spring contact inside the connector on the main board, and you know, fold over or short out, and it could cause all sorts of unforeseen and undefined problems. So have a really good look at your ribbon cables, and if they are bad, don't be tempted to put it back together and try it unless you really know what you're doing. They should be a regimented little rows, all parallel, all shiny, all stuck down, none of them leaning over, none of them flaking off or peeling off. This one's quite good. There's a little bit of damage here at the end, but not too bad. But you really have to be careful how you feed that in, and be patient and careful and prepare the position. Otherwise you could have problems. Okay, so last final point is that when we send you the email asking for payment, we'll also send you the link to the reassembly video, which is basically deals in the reverse process of putting this thing back together and testing it. So anyway, the website is invibo.com, invebo.com, invibo.com. I'll put something on the end screen. And once again, thanks for watching.